Welcome to Neo Royal House of Pricey Cardboard. On this episode of Commander Gameplay, we are joined by Fitz from the Arena of the Ancients and DementedKirby from the Commander Tavern. The Commander Tavern is a channel dedicated to Kirby's favorite Magic the Gathering format. The brewery is a series on his channel showcasing his spicy brews and other deck techs. As for Fitz, you can find him on Twitter and Twitch, streaming EDH gameplay on Sunday evenings. He brought today is Atraxa, the Praetor's Voice, Phyrexia Tribal Edition. This is a flavor deck looking to play as many Phyrexia cards possible. Fitz is really good at creating powerful synergistic flavor lists, so I'm not letting my guard down. As for Kirby, he is playing Polukranos World Eater. Kirby has a super in-depth primer on MTG Salvation, and I would highly recommend you check it out. Polukranos is not a commander we see often, and it's taking somewhat of a different spin on mono-green ramp. Kelly is playing a Gyruda Doom of Death clone deck, looking to get Sakashima and the companion into play to chain Demon Krakens into more Demon Krakens, milling us all out or winning with a non-cheesy Tassa's Oracle. For myself, I'm playing my OG deck, the Scarab God. A bit on the slower side, this deck is looking to set up a powerful board of permanents and then take over the game with the Scarab God's abilities to scry what you need on top and lower your opponent's health. I run a lot fewer lords than I once did, but I still run the keyword ones. I just added Necro Duality from Crimson Vow and I'm looking forward to test it out. Fitz's opening hand contains Sylvan Library, Phyrexia Tower, Breeding Pool, Watery Grave, Bountiful Promenade, Nurturing Peatland, and a Command Tower. Kirby's opening hand contains Fiendhorn House, Circle of Dreams Druid, Shadow Spear, Amulet of Vigor, Soul Ring, and a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Kelly's opening hand contains Clone, Grimoire Vest, Talisman of Dominance, Stout Vessel, Reliquary Tower, Misty Rainforest, and a Witch Cottage. My opening hand contains Erebos Bleak Hearted, Wandering Archaic, Newsgraph Mob, Propaganda, Choked Estuary, Snow-Covered Swamp, and a basic island. Before we get to the gameplay, we played another game right before this one. If you would be interested in watching it, it's gonna be the first piece of content available only on Patreon. More on that at the end of the video.
This deck's not as degenerate, I swear. Alright, I guess there's 6 lands, let's go, I'm ready.
I land drop a Choked Estuary, while Kelly land drops a Misty Rainforest. Kirby land drops a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. He casts a Soul Ring, followed by a Shadow Spear and an Amulet of Vigor.
Damn, son.
But that's gonna be my board state until I draw the next land. So I'm
Fitz land drops Phyrexia Tower. I land drop a Watery Grave tapped, while Kelly cracks her fetch land.
Fitted pull. Fuck.
Poule is chicken in French.
oh
Fitted poule.
yeah.
Just rotten chicken.
Kelly land drops Reliquary Tower. She casts Talisman of Dominance. Kirby land drops a High Market, a land but not the one he needed. Fitz land drops a Command Tower, and casts Sylvan Library.
Fitz is classic.
Yep.
I do love powerful card draw engines.
I land drop a Snow-Covered Swamp and cast Propaganda. Kelly starts by casting a Stout Vessel. She basic land cycles an island and plays it for turn.
I got plays. I just need one creature man.
Fitz does not look at the card and pays 8 life. He land drops a Bountiful Promenade and casts Rhystic Study. I land drop a Tainted Isle and casts Erebos Bleak Hearted. Kelly land drops a Witch Cottage. She pays 3 mana and puts her companion to hand.
Hopefully I draw the forest before you move it away.
I'm so sorry.
Mill 4 forest. No!
Because I flipped my desk.
Kirby does not draw land and pass. Fitz plays a Water Grave untapped. He casts Manifold Insights, a card I never knew existed but is quite tempted to try. We pick Phyrexian Arena, Arcane Signet, and Phyrexian Rebirth. He discards to end size and pass. I land drop an island and cast Wandering Archaic. Kelly then drops a Temple of Deceit, scrying 1 to the bottom. She then casts her companion, Gyruda, Doom of Death.
Some say a beast lives in those waters. You see, it's called the Demon Kraken!
She mills everyone 4 and takes my Grave Titan. Kirby misses his land drop and pass. Fitz land drops a City of Brass and casts Phyrexian Reclamation, followed by an Arcane Signet.
Sylvan Librarian with 630, it's not much Phyrexia, but it's evil enough.
I cast Expedition Map, cracking it for an ancient tomb. I then play it for turn and cast Crypt Breaker. Going to combat, Wandering Archaic attacks Fitz. Kelly then drops a Morphic Pool. She casts Sire of Stagnation. Heading into combat, Grave Titan goes to Fitz, creating 2 zombies on attack. Kirby, once again, does not draw a land. Fitz starts his turn with a Phyrexian Rebirth. My Archaic copies this spell first, so I make a 9/9 Horror. Then Fitz's copy resolves and makes a 1/1 Horror. He plays a Plains and pass. On my turn, I cast my commander, the Scarab God.
The hour of eternity is upon us.
I then cast Training Ground and pass. Kelly then drops a Swamp. She casts Grim Harvest, putting Gyruda back to hand, recasting the Demon Kraken. On ETB, she takes Fitz's Blightsteel Colossus to prevent him from shuffling his graveyard, or so she says. Kirby finally gets a forest and plays it. He casts Elvish Mystic and equips the Shadow Spear onto it.
The scariest thing is her clones can become more black.
Oh no.
Yep.
Well, this is not the plan.
This is not a Gyruda deck anymore, it's a
I-
Blightsteel
Oh, it's a
clone
blind
deck.
steal.
Look,
The little elf with his spear, oh my god, what is this?
Yeah, it's just like, just bring it. Like, just bring it.
Fitz then drops an Exotic Archer. He then casts his commander, Atraxa, Praetor's Voice.
It's not a goal, but a process. The process of creating the perfect Phyrexia.
He casts Path to Exile, targeting my Scarab God. I react with a Pact of Negation. He then casts Reanimate, returning Eleshnorn Grand Cenobite to play and losing 7 life. I paid a 5 to not lose the game at my upkeep. Reacting to my Scarab God trigger, I eternalize Fitz's Phyrexian Obliterator, a little protection against the Blightsteel. I scry 1 and my opponents lose 1. Kelly then drops a Shipwreck March. She casts one of our partners, Sakashima of 1,000 Faces.
Now you see me?
Now you don't. Entering as a non-legendary Gyruda, she gets Gravedigger from her deck. On ETB, she gets Archaeomancer to hand.
Fitz, I wanted Eleshnorn.
I know you did. I knew you wanted it real bad.
You did.
That's why I went to 12 life. I was like, I'll just have to take a bunch of damage, I guess.
Kirby then drops Mirren the Moaning Well. Unable to play Monodogs because of Eleshnorn, he casts a Conjurer's Closet, followed by an Exploration.
Interesting.
take the 8.
No.
Aw.
No.
No. I'm just gonna take the 1.
You're not gonna drop to 4?
No, thank you.
What's the worst that could happen?
I'll lose the game. That's probably the worst case.
Yeah. I think the most degenerate thing I did was keep my 1-lander.
Fitz then drops a Vault of the Champions. Looking to gain some life, Atraxa attacks Kelly. In second main, he casts Sheoldred the Whispering One. At the end step, I eternalize Cleaver's Cab with Scarab God. At my upkeep, Sheoldred's trigger goes on top of my Scarab God. I react by eternalizing a clone from Kelly's graveyard, entering as a second Cleaver's Cab. I then use the Scab that can tap and sacrifice the copy to get 2 more, sacrificing one of them to Sheoldred. I also try to bring back Wandering Archaic as a zombie. Kelly reacts to the target with her Torrential Gearhulk, casting Resculpt on ETB, exiling Sheoldred. The Archaic then returns. My opponents lose 4, while I scry 4. In my main phase, I cast Ashiok Dream Render, using our -1 to mill myself all 4 and exile my opponent's graveyard. I then go to combat, chipping away at Kirby with Scarab God. On her turn, Kelly casts Clone. On ETB, the new Kraken gets Infant Mutineer, exiling my Erebos Bleak-Hearted. She heads into combat, sending Gyruda to Kirby. On his turn, Kirby casts Teamer Sabertooth and pass. Fitz casts Sword to Plowshare, paying the Archaic tax and exiling my Obliterator. Fitz then attempts to full swing at me.
I'm sorry to ruin your career, but you have to pay too.
Oh,
Fucking stupid propaganda.
Paying for 2 creatures, he sends Atraxa and the Elemental to me. I take 12. At my upkeep, Scarab God triggers. I eternalize Death Baron. I then split it into 2 Death Barons with my first Cleaver Scab, making it possible for me to keep regular zombies. I then eternalize Grave Titan, getting 2 more on ETB. I cleave my Grave Titan, getting 4 more regular zombies. I then resolve my Scarab God trigger for 13.
Wow, am I gonna scry a land on top? Probably.
You could, if you wanted to.
I'll end up Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Is this where he just hits us with a Gary?
No.
Called it.
Gary resolves for another 13. Kelly has too many blockers, so I take out Kirby. Kelly draws, and with no relevant cards to play, concedes the match. Well played.
My plan, if you didn't cast Gary, was Massacre Worm and you exploded.
Ooh, yeah, for sure. If I didn't die.
Because your zombies were 2/2s, so you
Yeah,
Yeah, if I live there.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. You can find a second game from this pod exclusively on Patreon. The game has no visual, but is cut down to 11 minutes with our real voice to make it easier to watch. If this is something you enjoy, I will be uploading more bonus games on the Patreon page. It is, after all, the best way to support this channel for as little as $2 a month.
Because it was like, oh, this is gonna be fine. And then Fitz said, I won turn 6. Like, maybe this won't be fine.
I had a pretty good start.
Let's do the ground C for an island. I'm gonna basically cycle for an island.
Got tapped. Woodland Cemetery and pass.
So I'll play an Exploration,
Ooh.
and I'll play a Thawing Glaciers tapped and passing.
Check out Fitz and Kirby on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Take care, and we'll see you very soon.